is Wednesday, and as our fatheads fill your screen, you're watching Boogie with the Bull Wednesday morning caffeine. We are live on the Dave Glovin profile somewhere on Facebook, I'm sure. It will show up there eventually. And we're live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And I got important news for you this morning. Don't tell Randy, but it's Randy Rhodes' birthday today. So wish him a happy birthday and drink coffee or whatever you have in your cup and salute Randall Rhodes.
Yes, indeed. February 11th is my birthday.
February 11th.
Now, I know you're going to ask me how old I am, so let me use my calculator.
You're 927.
Oh, no, I'm 67.
67?
Yeah.
God, I didn't know people live that long.
Oh, yeah, and I just got life insurance 2 days ago, so now I can die. No, I can't. I got to wait 1 year to die.
Okay, well, you come in, like I said, you come into the Facebook chat or the Boogie with the Bull YouTube chat, and you'll see the link to the chat group. Either way, it's www.youtube.com/@DaveGlovin. And that will bring you to the wonderful page. You can like the page, and if you do, you'll be notified every time we go live on the page, or you can see the old Boogie with the Bulls. Some will make you cry, some will make you laugh, some will make you cry and laugh. Anyway, but Randy was telling about his birthday, and I cut him off, and I didn't want to do that.
Well, that's okay. Well, I want to show you something. I got to bring it up here. I was just saying to Dave before we went live that I had, believe it or not, I had an argument with the computer, and I actually lost the argument.
You had an argument with a computer.
Yeah, somebody
actually lost.
Okay, let me show you this. It's just a photo, and I have the rights to the photo.
Okay.
Screen one. There we go. Okay.
Well, there it is. And whoops.
Okay.
There it is.
So that is a photograph of Regina Muster's uncles and aunts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And an old man, the father, okay?
Okay.
The son, and then an older, whatever, an uncle maybe, okay? Now, he has his shirt off, right?
Yep.
And muscular, well built. So I asked ChatGPT to colorize this photograph, right?
Yes.
It came back with. Let me bring it up here. It came back with. Let's see. Where's that here? I actually centered the argument. Here he goes.
Okay.
We're so sorry, but the image we create may violate our guardrails around lightly sexual or provocative themes. If you think we got it wrong, please retry or edit your prompt. I responded back, what is sexual about the photo? It came back with, yeah, there's nothing sexual about this photo. A shirtless man by itself isn't considered explicit and inappropriate. It looks like a casual historical film, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so agree with me, right? So then I said, then please colorize it. It came back with, we're so sorry, but the image we create may violate blah, blah, blah. And then I went back, I am arguing with the computer.
You are.
It's like, stop. It's just a man with his shirt off. It refused to freaking colorize the photo. It looked like a woman with boobs.
Thank you, Regina Musser, for that beautiful picture that started today's broadcast.
Well,
you're welcome on the program anytime you want.
She actually lives in Florida.
Well, a lot of people live in Florida. I'm finding that out. And some of them actually live in the same town in Florida that I live in.
Yeah. So
and they're enjoying 66 degrees.
Oh, I hate you.
Under cloudy skies. There may be a 4 o'clock percent chance of rain today, but I don't know. But it is nice and warm outside.
Yeah, it's supposed to warm up to 52 degrees here on the change of that. So the high is going to be 45 on Monday, but we're hovering between high 30s and low 40s, enough to slowly melt the snow. So I actually decided, it's my birthday, so I actually upgraded ChatGPT from the free version, which gives you 5 images a day that they'll colorize. So I tricked the system. I have three, I have 4 browsers I use. So I was actually able to sign up a free version on each of my browsers. So Ancestry has their version of enhancements and colorization as part of the monthly I pay, and it does a good job.
It
But then I
does.
saw but then I saw ChatGPT and did a side by side comparison. Oh my God, ChatGPT has it down, all hands down. It was a phenomenal difference between that and Ancestry. So I started using it for my clients, and they're well overwhelmed with the clarity and so forth. So for my birthday, I decided to upgrade from the free version to the $20 a month. I get the first 30 days for
Yeah,
free. It allows me 50 photographs every 3 hours. So that's more than enough for what I need to make my
it
clients
is.
happy. So that's what I'm going to be doing now, using that. Now, having said that, um, I am pissed. I
Well,
want
it's
to tell you
better
why I'm
being pissed
pissed.
off than
Uh,
pissed on.
yeah, it's true. Uh,
Okay.
uh, I've been fairly well following the Griswold mother kidnapping.
Oh, the
Okay,
Guthrie mother
yeah,
kidnapping.
her.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, her. Okay.
so it's 11 days now.
Yep.
They keep saying they'll pay the ransom, but they haven't paid the ransom. So I haven't. So what they did was, I guess they did a trial payment to see where the money went to. So they paid I think $181 in that fake money, and the FBI.
It's not fake money. It's
Well,
different system.
right. So the FBI was able to trace it to where it went. The money's still there, so the people haven't taken the money out. Um, I am pissed off because the news media, the FBI, the police, everyone is putting far too much information out into the netherworld. And these folks who kidnapped her, if indeed she is truly kidnapped, I still hold my doubts on that part. But they obviously are going to be watching the news, and they're going to be following everything they do. They show the video of
Mhm.
the suspect wearing a mask. He had a gun. He had a flashlight in his mouth. You can see he has a big mustache. You can see his eye. They put that out there. I think for me, they're putting far too much information out there, showing the bad guys, if they're truly our bad guys, that we are on the ball. We know where you're at. We're getting closer to you. And it's like, why don't you just keep that shit to yourself, act dumb, and then bring them in?
Well, in the old days, you paid whatever money they told you in a big, black bag or whatever, and you put it in a trash can, and they knew they were being watched. You knew they were being watched, and in the modern age, I guess they don't want to be watched, so they do it on Bitcoin, thinking that they're not going to be watched. And you know, I would think that to make it secure, everything on Bitcoin is being watched, especially when the value of a Bitcoin is worth whatever it's running at today. I have to go to Bitcoin and look it up because I actually don't know.
Well, I did learn one thing through this. Um, Apparently, I guess the bad guy took her Ring doorbell camera, or I think it's called Chime or something like that.
Yeah.
But took the camera, and the family, even though they're multimillionaires, didn't pay to have the camera uh, video recorded and kept on file. So the FBI had to go through all the many hours of viewing all the stored video of every customer that's it's in the clouds to find her house and find a video of this guy. So that's how they found that video. But now the bad guy knows they have the video and they have an idea of how, the weight, the height, the mustache, eye. Now they might be able to track this guy's how he got to her house.
Okay.
I just think they're giving too much out there. I think they need to be more quiet about it and just get the job done. Like, for an example, did you know that the FBI finally tracked down the mastermind behind the what was it, the attack on the
Benghazi.
embassy? Okay,
Benghazi. Yep.
right. So they finally came out. We arrested him. He's on his way back to
He is, from what I understand, already back in the U.S.
But
he was brought back over the weekend.
But it's not like they were advertising that they're still investigating or getting close. So they kept that close to the chest. So why they keep this? Why they bring this out in the open?
They didn't. Well, they will bring it out in the open, but they want to wait until Hillary Clinton has a chance to speak before the cameras, to use whatever information they collect from this gentleman who I guess is sick. They walked him down the stairs. They put him on a gurney. They put him in an ambulance. They brought him to wherever they're going to keep him. So I don't know if it's just anymore to keep him only because he's going to die, but he's a bad person. And yes, bad things should happen to him, just like the bad guy, Ivan the Terrible, who they found, I believe, in Dedham, Massachusetts, as a model citizen that never created any problems for anybody and was sick himself, I believe was in his 90s, and they brought him back and they, kept him until he died, or they're going to keep him until he dies. He was in his 90s, but, you want to hear it from the source, I guess.
It'll be interesting, and the timing is perfect. Here's Hillary's supposed to be going to testify about the Epstein stuff, but it's interesting that they arrest this guy and they bring him back at the same time that she's supposed to testify.
Yep.
I'd be interested to see if he has information detrimental to her decisions for not sending the ambassador the Marines that he was asking and crying for, begging for.
Yep. So I guess today one Bitcoin is worth $66,988.49. So putting it all together for the $1 million, $6 million ransom is probably more easier than it is waiting on cash. But I think the whole thing is it's skyrocketed out of control, because you have to think that 11 days says she is either in on it and was one of the people, and or she was off by now, because she's most likely, as they've said on other broadcasts, seen who is involved and can identify them.
Well, she has a pacemaker, so she has to be on some kind of medication. They said the pacemaker went offline, so it may have even stopped, because that would have been a way up the FBI to track her whereabouts by tracking the
information that I got was, sorry to cut you off, but the information that I got was that the pacemaker does not transmit. So they can't just GPS track where she is. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I honestly don't know. Uh, but like you said, keeping the information, the tidbits here and there is what's going to keep you involved in that distraction if it was a a distraction. I want to invite anybody on the internet that wants to come today and talk about whatever they want to talk about too. So you are welcome to the program. Otherwise, you're going to hear me and Randy talk the whole time, and there is
Yeah.
a lot on the table.
So, you know, well, just as a heads up, this Thursday, 7 p.m., I'm having my next broadcast with Chris Edwards. He's an author about the Colonel um, Quantrell.
Yep.
Some consider him a bad guy. Some consider him a hero. It all depends on what you know part of the
Oh,
country you come from. Um, to the
yeah.
south, he's a hero. And he wrote the book to just set the record straight because we all know that those who win the wars get the right to history. And speaking of wars,
Yep.
um, Ukraine and Russia are still going. Um,
They are.
I mean,
I just wanted to welcome Dieter Martin Bowser, who I know has watched before, is watching us. Is watching us today, and well, it's more fun to watch in one of the two chat rooms because you get to be involved in the program. Go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry I cut you off. I'm really trying to not do that.
uh, did you say something about $50? Oh, yeah. I'm supposed to pay you $50, keep you from interrupting me. Okay. No.
$50 a word. fifty
Oh.
dollars a word. It's not. It's
Uh
not.
huh.
It wasn't just $50. It was $50 a word. That clause was added to your contract, and it is a valid.
I'm going
It
to
is a
speak to my
valid thing
manager about getting that
you can
rewritten.
do.
Um,
Well, we're going to get me to the point where I get a notebook and write down things as we go, which I should.
so here's a question
Or
for
I'm
you
going to
guys.
figure out something to use to write down ideas.
So here's a question for you guys. Back in the day, back in the days, back in the 70s,
Back in
when you used to watch TV and your son and daughter are your TV channel changers instead of the remote controls, it used to be when you got the networks brought out a TV series and you fell in love with it, and every week at such and such day, you were guaranteed to watch a new episode of your particular series you watch. Today, it's like, you know, this, the new
this
year just started. They brought out like three or four new episodes, and now they're on hiatus until frickin' spring. Then they're going to bring on some more. And then they're going to. I mean, how do these actors? I know they get paid well. Don't get me wrong, but how do these actors maintain their bills, especially a mortgage on a multi-million-dollar house? I mean, do they get paid for the entire year, or do they get paid by the episode that they're in? I mean, I
I
mean,
I can't give you an answer, but I'm sure when you build a uh, a global organization that is that wealthy, you just pay your bills as they come along, and you make your money as it comes along to you. Uh, you know why they're on hiatus after being on hiatus, I don't understand. You know, January 1st is a brand new year, so you can say goodbye to Christmas and continue on in the new year, and maybe March or April becomes hiatus if that's what you want to do, and then 3 months later becomes hiatus, and you know that may be what you want to do. But when you go into hiatus, why not make enough episodes so that when you're in
yeah,
hiatus, we can still watch, because you're not up to date unless you've shown it to us. And the bigger problem is that there, like you said, there are so many shows that are on that you can't, you know, I can't, at 64 with Lewy body dementia and with Parkinson's, I have trouble walking to the TV set, but with Lewy body dementia, I can't sit down and control it. Now I can sit down and control my computer, but I can't control my TV with everywhere I want to go. I wish my TV was audio controlled and I could just say go to Netflix or go to YouTube or go to, Roku or go to NBC, and just watch it that way. But that technology in a TV set is probably more than I want to spend on one.
I actually today, if I have the time to think about it, I'm going to try some. I saw a video. It showed this guy. He had an older flat screen computer TV, and
Mhm.
they showed the guy walking out and throwing it into the trash can. And I said, "Whoa! Before you do that, check this out." And it shows that in the back of these TVs, there's an input that you can take your cell phone, connect it with a
Yep.
charging cord, connect it to the back of the TV, do something on like
Or you can
download
do
an
it
app,
wireless too.
and you can actually turn that dumb TV into a smart TV.
Yep.
So I have this 50 plus inch TV, my
Hmm.
family room. I'm gonna actually try that and see if it actually works.
I would try it and see if it works. We only have a 42 inch in our living room, but I would be willing to play with it and try it on that. We have a 32 inch in the bedroom but we don't really use it much, and it's not that because it's old, but we just don't use it much. Uh, so
Did you?
go ahead.
I love my president. Did you see the biggest uh, 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 push against Canada he did about the bridge? So they built this bridge to span between Canada and the United States, and it's getting ready
Okay.
for its big grand opening, right?
Yep.
And Trump says, "Nope, nope, nope, nope. I'm not going to allow this bridge to open up unless you give us control of half that bridge." I guess it must be like a toll
Well,
bridge or something like that. So,
well, if
uh,
it's a
so
toll bridge in Canada, it better damn well be a toll bridge in the United States. To me, tariffs, tolls, they're all the same. If they want to charge hypothetically, a $20 toll on us, then we ought to be able to charge a $20 toll on them. Same thing with the tariffs. If we want to charge a $20 tariff on them, they're going to charge a $20 tariff on us. And it's going to get to the point where nobody's going to sell anything or everybody's going to make everything. And, that unfortunately may be the solution. But go ahead, it's your turn to talk. It's not mine.
no, I'm reading on the negotiations about this bridge. Apparently, he will only allow it to open up if Canada starts paying on various tariffs on different things they get from us. So it's another way of getting tariffs paid because the bridge itself costs a shitload of money.
Mm-hmm.
Canada initially said that they're going to share it with China. Oh, how the hell China got involved here without reading the entire article here. But Trump is saying that we're bigger than you are. We are, our money is bigger than yours, and we're going to get it. So if you want this bridge to be opened up, you're going to start paying the tariffs on the U.S. dairy and some other stuff that you want from our country.
What I don't understand is why is it Canada and China teaming up against the United States, because Canada may need China to be their middleman. Because to me, a bridge between China and the United States, I mean, between Canada and the United States, has nothing to do with
Hmm.
China. And really, a bridge between anybody and the United States has nothing to do with third parties, because if we build all these bridges with China and Mexico, those are the bridges that are going to be knocked out first in this global war. And and we don't. I just don't understand why we can't sit and break bread and agree on what we agree on and disagree on what we don't. Although I heard the best analogy of what I've been saying the other day was we don't need to disagree with anybody about what we want to do. We just need to agree on some things that I guess we're going to do globally with everybody else. But when it comes to running the United States, we run the United States. Go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to pick up some things here to talk about because
Well,
I
your
wasn't really,
birthday's one of them, but
you know,
uh,
yeah, it's just another day of getting old, and uh, it's. I mean, I mean, to think I would I did, when you're young, like a kid outside playing in the dirt, you don't think this far ahead in your life, and it's like, um,
no,
you know,
we're outside playing.
I didn't come from money. I didn't inherit any money. So you see all these things
Right.
about, uh, to have a good life in your older years, you should have $1 million in the bank, blah, blah, blah. I don't even have, $100 in the bank, but, I'm just happy that I was able to start working so young and work as long as I did to create that buffer for the Social Security to start paying me back.
But the
Um,
big the big buffer on those $1 million accounts is that everybody I know pulled their money out of those $1 million accounts long before they got to $1 million because they had a reason why they needed the money.
yeah.
Some people had to pay bills. For me, it was buying another car, I'm sure, until I met someone, a loan officer at one bank who was actually someone I knew. And it was, you're not going to get the money, so we didn't do it. I mean, and we bought cars that were older than new because every time I parked an old one next to a new one, customers would tell me the old one was the newest.
Yeah.
You know,
I was fortunate when I was, a teenager living at home. My dad worked for Motorola, and
mm-hmm.
Motorola provided a new car to all their salespeople. Okay, and when the car hit a certain number of miles, not a lot, a certain number of miles, the employee was allowed to buy
Yeah.
the car or trade it. Obviously they could
Mm-hmm.
trade it in for a new car or get the new car and buy the one that they were driving. So my first car was gotten through that process. I was
Yep.
able to buy my dad's 1974 Ford Galaxy 500
Yep.
for $2,000.
Yep.
Okay, that car was
A
by
reputable a
yeah by
reputable way of doing it.
that car was by today's standards a huge friggin' mungus car.
Yep.
Had like a 20-gallon tank.
Yep.
Sucked it up like it did.
A
But
land
you know
yacht,
what?
as we used to call it.
But you know what? I enjoyed it. I loved it. It
Oh
was
yeah.
great. It was great for date night.
Yeah.
You know what I
We
mean?
bought when one of the town cars was totaled in an accident, and no, it was not my fault. When it was totaled in an accident, we bought a
And there you go. So, okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the Randy Road. Oh, shoot.
I don't know. It happens sometimes on Restream.
I didn't
I
get out
don't.
in time.
I don't know. Well, no, but we did the same thing. We bought a '97 Ford Expedition that had like I don't know 60,000 miles on it, and it had been a turnpike supervisor's car, and he gave it to his wife, and then when he bought the new one, he gave that to his wife, and put the other one up for sale, and we did the same thing, and Yeah, it was a
Uh,
great car too. It got 9 gas stations to the mile city and 13 gas stations to the mile highway. But it was a very fast, comfortable ride.
so you know, I had the car for a couple of years, and I was working at the Sheraton Conestoga, which was at that time a high end resort hotel. I was a
Yeah.
gourmet waiter, and it was New Year's, and
Hmm.
my gas gauge had previously stopped working, so I couldn't tell how much gas I had left in the tank. And my dad said, "Don't worry about it. You got plenty of gas in the tank. Go to work and enjoy yourself." Right. So I went to work, and on the way home from work, guess what? I ran out
I
of gas.
I would have put a big note on the gas gauge if my dad had said, I'm not gonna fix it. That when it gets down to certain number of gallons, the you need to stop and put gas in it.
Well, luckily back then CB radios was the big thing, right?
Yep,
And my dad had in his house a base antenna set up so he could shoot
yep,
down to Florida.
yep,
So I got on my CB radio and I said, "Dad, guess what? I ran out of gas." And
yep.
he said, he said a few was they crosswords because I can hear in the
Oh,
background the
sure he
music.
did.
Everyone's drinking. It's New Year's night. Blah blah, having fun. Blah blah blah. Right. And he said, "Okay, where are you? Sit still. I'll be there." Okay. I told you it was out.
My dad didn't chew me out, but I know he was upset about it. He bought a '68 Chevy Impala that got passed down as us 5 kids were old enough. And my brother had told me earlier in the day that when he parked it, the oil light came on. So I should check the oil. And I didn't check it. I forgot about it. And I drove it about 13 miles of the 16 miles ride to work and it blew up. And I have not ever gotten over the fact that I blew it up. I mean that I didn't I didn't put hydraulics in it like I wanted to and made it a low rider or whatever. I left it stock, but I wish I still had that car. Well, actually, I don't wish I still had that car in 2026 because I can't drive it. You know,
Hmm.
I always tell people that yeah, a Mercedes is a great car. Go out and buy it, but the last Mercedes I drove was a 2008 R350, and I can't tell you about the new ones.
Hmm. That's I just I like that car. I really did. I mean,
Yep.
it was my first car. I made the payments myself. I kept the upgrade, update. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, my insurance was on my dad's name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the first accident, my dad had a
Oh
fit.
yeah,
Um,
because if it went up in his name,
yeah,
and he
I
got the points, not necessarily you did. Well, I mean, you got points for the accident, but he got points on his insurance.
I remember I was pulling out of the gas station, and I
Oh, welcome to Boogie with the Bull, Wednesday morning caffeine. Randy Rhodes seems to have turned off his microphone in the middle of the broadcast.
okay, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I touched the cord.
You're
Um,
not supposed to do that
I
during a
know, I
broadcast.
know. And now I'm in mono, so I
Okay.
don't have stereo in my ears.
Yeah, I had that
Um,
too. But it
so,
turned out that the thing I was listening to was in mono.
so I actually fought it. I took it to court to fight it, and I lost, obviously, because I was 17 years old. Because the lady, I pulled out. I knew I had plenty of time, and in my mirror, I saw this lady veering across the road and hitting this house, right? And I'm thinking to
Right.
myself, well, I had nothing to do with that. So, but I pulled off to the side and There we go. I'm back in stereo. Um,
You're
so,
back in
uh,
stereo.
and I went out. I checked the car. Her wheels were still spinning in the dirt, so she never even applied the damn brakes, right? But I was 17, and they said it's your fault. And so my dad's insurance paid for the damages, and my dad had a. He said, "You will now get car insurance in your name," and I did.
Well,
But it is what it
I
is.
went I went through putting drivers on my policy that I eventually came to find out didn't have a driver's license, even though they knew how to drive and they knew how to drive very well. But I will never do that again either, for the same reason that you didn't make it.
So how old were you when you first got your car?
I got my license when I was 17, so I probably got it when I probably got the Impala passed down to me at 17, and that's what I drove. At the time, my dad had a Porsche 924 for himself, and I think he had gone to the Fiat, but that wasn't very long. So he might have had the Mercedes, and I was all excited about being able to drive the Mercedes. And no, I didn't get a chance to drive the Mercedes until later that year. It started out on shopping lists that were very short, but yeah, the Chevy was the first car
Hmm.
that I that
Yeah,
I
I was
can remember
I, I
because
was se- I was 17 when I got my license, and of course you had to graduate. You had to take the driver ed course in
Mhm.
school, which I did. That helped me with getting some discount on the car insurance.
Yep,
I also went through a company called Moomaw Driver Ed, where they have the car with the
yep.
dual steering wheel and dual brakes, so you don't kill anybody. Um, so I did it that way as well. I enjoyed that. It cost me $20 a week.
Yep.
Uh, now uh, I went to take the test the first time, and I flunked it because. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
she hung up. Um, Hang on a second. Just want to let
I
you know I'm on the show.
I moved to Massachusetts, and my license in California I think expired that same week, and I hadn't renewed it because I was moving, and the Massachusetts State Police officer that gave me the test said turn right, go up and 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 turn right, and you're right back where you started. And I would jump out of the car right there. And the last thing he said to me before he got out of the car was, "You have driven before because you aced the test." And I
I,
said to him, "I did exactly what you asked me to do. Number one, I didn't give you any hat. That's all about what you asked me to do about it." I said, "Yes, I own my own limousine business, and that seemed to help."
well, how? Okay, so why did you take the driver's test if you owned your limousine business?
To get a Massachusetts driver's license, which
Oh, okay.
I did have a learner's permit, and I was allowed to drive with a licensed driver in the car, but I actually
Yeah,
didn't enjoy driving much anyway. You
I
know,
can see. So okay.
I did enjoy being driven around more, but the story needs to be told the way the story is, that I never thought I would be able to afford to ride in a limousine. So I started working for a limousine company, washing them, and then made my way up to the one day where someone said, "Oh, hey, can you drive one?" And I said, "Yeah." And they sent me out, and then they talked to the customer. The customer was very happy, and things progressed from there. But you know, I never planned on being able to ride in one, so I drove.
Hmm.
But but what did you do? You were in the Air Force. What did you, and then you worked at the restaurant, and then you
Yeah. So,
went
well,
from there.
when I was in high school, I was working as a gourmet waiter in a hotel, Sheraton Conestoga, and that's where I fell in love with the whole hotel business. And I
Mhm.
wanted to get a degree in hotel management. So in 11th grade, I told my counselor, what I wanted to do, and she said that you need to take all the business courses that we have to offer. You take them. That's going to help you in college. So I did, and I aced them all. So then I went to Penn State College in 1977 when I graduated. Went straight to college. The first year, every subject that I had was uh, oriented to the high school classes I took. So I aced the first year. The second year is where it caved because now I needed quantitative business math, algebra,
Oh
and all
God.
these other courses that I did not take in high school, period. And of course, my A went down to a NZ, and
Oh,
the college loan said that you had to maintain at least a C average to
mhm.
be to receive the funds for this year. And I saw the writing on the wall. Not to mention the fact that you know you're being taught in college how to do certain things, right?
Yep.
For example, you don't smoke while you're making food at the grill. Well, that's what the chefs did. You have to change the water in the dishwasher every so many hours. That's what
Mhm.
the hotel. So
Right.
everything that the college was telling me to do in real life, it wasn't being done. So I'm thinking to myself, then why in the hell am I spending this money to get a degree when it doesn't happen in real life?
Oh,
So I quit college
right.
and then I joined the Air Force.
Well, the algebra, I can see people quitting because they decide they're never going to need it. But on my side, as I've said before, I met the chief engineer in the college station who said you need to be able to do the formula in your head, whether or not you understand algebra. If the transmitter goes down, the FCC requires you to give a reading, or if it acts funny, it requires you to give a reading at some point. And, you know, I looked at the chief engineer and said, aren't there people who are responsible for that? I just want to be the guy who sits in front of the mic and talks. I don't want to be a chief engineer. Well, then I met someone who went to school who knew how to be a chief engineer, but she really didn't know anything. And I came to a point where I got tired of telling her how to do her job.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take the test because the chief engineer pays bucks because the chief engineer is supposed to know things that I may or may not know. Plus, in the middle of the night, I don't want to get out of bed and go fix a station and put them back on the air. I want to just stay in bed and sleep.
Yeah. So one of the jobs that I really liked and I really enjoyed, I was in it the longest, was at a security company. I was the manager of a central station,
Yeah.
and it was a unique form of security. Had the standard, doors, motion, fire, that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it also had microphones, so you could actually hear what's going on
Yeah.
inside the building.
Yeah.
The idea was to be able to hear the people on the outside as they were breaking in. So you got the cops there faster, and it worked. It was a phenomenal system. But I was working for a company. The company I was working for sold out,
Yeah.
but a similar company, a larger one in Baltimore, Maryland, knew about me, knew about my experience, and offered me a really good salary to work for him. So I drove back and forth to work
Yeah.
um, every day to go work. So, but because of my position, I was responsible for the computers in the central station.
Oh God. Yeah.
Now the women who were there, were pissed because they're there the longest. Here, this new guy comes in, and because he's a man, he gets put in charge of us because the general manager had a thing against women. I won't go any further with
That,
that.
that I
But
wouldn't have taken the
so,
job.
so what? So what happened was, if the computer broke down, they were not allowed to touch it, even though they knew how to fix it. They were not allowed to touch it.
I want to
So
thank the chief
it's the
engineer who
it's
taught me.
it's the middle of winter, snow coming down. I get this phone call, Randy, the computer's down. We're dead in the water. And I said, I know what's going on. I can walk you through. And they said, no, we can't touch it. You have to come here.
Yeah. Well, see, I would have told them to go ahead and listen to me telling them how to fix it and showing them how to fix it. Because to me, having to get out of bed and drive 200 miles to tell you how to fix it or fix it in person was ridiculous. But by the same token, when I made manager of a or general manager of a security business and listening to an officer call me every hour, almost on the hour, telling me the dog bit him and he didn't want to work with the dog anymore. And I was terrified of all the dogs that we had. I just said to him, I can come up and show you that that dog is the sweetest dog in the world. She will do her job, but she is the sweetest dog in the world, and she knows that I am terrified of her.
Hmm.
But she will do what she is supposed to do. So if she bit you, you did something wrong. And at that point, he hung up and he quit, and I never heard any more from him. So,
Yeah, so I had no choice. So I figured, okay, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna take some clothes with me and just
yeah,
stay there because it was a work day. So I got in the car, freaking snow, and I drove all the way for a 10-minute fix.
yeah.
And then I went into one office and I went to sleep until it was time for me to wake up and start my shift.
Well, I understand you and I hear you because every manager above me and the owners always would say, you don't need to go out and do the actual fix because the people below you know how to do it. So just delegate to them and delegate and delegate and delegate and delegate. And every once in a while, yes, you have to go out and do the fix because you
Yeah.
have new people. You have to show them how to do the fix. But, like I said, with the chief engineer at the college station and the algebra incident, I was on at 10 o'clock at night till, no, there I was on 2 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. And no, I'd call the chief engineer and say, this is what needs to be done. I need you to just call the transmitter and tell her to turn back on. And if she turns back on, life is beautiful. If she doesn't turn back on, then you might have to get out of bed. And he said, no, if it doesn't turn back on, just lock the door and leave. And I used to say to him, I don't have keys. And then he used to say, you're the executive vice president of the student government. You pay for the college radio station and you pay for the campus police. And you don't have keys to the radio station where you are. And I used to say, no, I don't have keys to the radio station where I'm at. I did say they leave the bathroom open because they leave the bathroom open.
You know, so my the general manager sat me down one day and he said, Randy, I've been going over the payroll and damn, you're racking up the overtime. And I said, well, I said, the job has to get done.
Yeah.
And so he said, tell you what, he said, why don't we make you salaried, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, how much do you want? And I said, damn, I said, I never had that question asked me before. I said,
It's
so he
not
said,
a good question.
so he said, well, go home, think about it, and then come back with a number.
It's
So
not a good question.
I was still living at home. So I said to my dad, I said, I got this problem. He said, what's the problem? He said, the guy wants to put me on salary. I don't know what to say. And he said, ask for 35,000. So I went back to work the next day and I said, 35,000. She's done.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, that was too easy. I went in too low. I,
Was 35,000 enough for you making at that time?
well, I mean, it was more money than I ever made
Yeah.
in my life up to that point. I was
Yeah.
what in my early 20s, so it was the most money I ever made in my entire life. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but then
Yeah.
when I actually sat down and did the numbers,
Well,
God, um,
yeah. Then you find out that it might not be.
because then he started really making use of me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They do because yeah. If you had said 75,000, they might have said no. If you had said $100,000, they would have definitely said no because they don't want to cut what they're making to pay you.
And they're going, hey, thank you for joining us. This is
I'm sorry. It's a restream problem today.
I
But,
was that close to taking over.
do you want to take over? I mean, I can push a button and make you take over.
Yeah, thank you for joining us here at Randall Rhodes's Good Morning Coffee program, where we come here and we just drink coffee and we just talk with the top of. Oh, he's back again. God.
Well, you can't say it right. When you say it right, I'll kick myself.
Well, if it's going
I'll
to be
kick
my show,
myself to the curb.
well, if it's going to be my show, I'll say any way I want. But no,
Well, that's true.
and if these flags offend you,
No,
get a job.
they don't. They don't offend me. They never will offend me because I've been in that situation, and I've said I hope that the fact that I want a Corvette and no, excuse me, I wanted a Porsche. The person who was going to be uh, assistant general manager wanted a Corvette, and the person who was actually going to put up the money said no to him because I don't know. He said no. Uh, it didn't happen at the time because I have a big problem that I want everybody involved. So I tell everybody what's going on, and I told a few people related to the like you said central station part of the business. So it didn't happen because they told other people, and and even though everybody wanted me to do it, they didn't do it.
So,
I'm kind of glad they didn't do it because I didn't. I didn't want to be the owner.
you want to be the owner.
No, you got to be. At that time, I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I think, and it wasn't with an understanding. When you don't want to come in, you just don't come in. You send somebody else. And you make sure that you're covered, or you can work at home. And I did that for a long time. I worked at home with a car, and I was able to jump in the car if I needed to.
Yeah.
But when I had one car, I only took work for one car. When I needed three cars, I bought a second one. When I needed four cars, I bought the third. And did that. But the only car, you brought it up earlier, the only car I truly miss not having was the 95 Ford Crown Vic.
Oh,
I,
yeah.
I
Oh,
wish
yeah.
I wish I still had 954. And 954 got sent to a graveyard because the person that I sold it to said it had an oil leak. And I said, no. I said, you don't understand the history of 954. I said, 954 started out as a Massachusetts State Police cruiser. It went to the MBTA, Massachusetts Transit Authority. Then it went to the Wellesley Police Department, where it was the chief's cruiser, and then it went to the company I worked for as the deputy chief's cruiser, and then it became mine because people didn't want to drive it because it was so old.
That's also a boat.
No, I drove the old boats. I mean, I drove 90s and 91s, but I drove 90s and 91s for the same reason. It was in the 2000s, and everybody wanted to get into a 2004, 2005, 2006, 2008, and nobody wanted to get into 954 and drive it. And I knew, because part of fleet maintenance was a responsibility that I had, that it always had whatever it needed. When it was the deputy chief's car, he would say it needs new tires, and boom, I made sure it got sent to
New tires.
our mechanic and got new tires. So doing everything to it, it was one of the best cars we had. Plus, they also threatened to put me into a brand new Toyota Prius,
Ah,
and I drove one. And every time it went into the synergy mode, or hybrid mode, it sounded like the engine stalled. And after 15 minutes, I went to the owner and I said, I can't. I think I just called him and said, I can't drive this. It just sounds like the engine's stalling every 15 minutes when it goes into hybrid mode, that I just can't do it.
yeah, a friend of mine has one of those cars where when it's idling, it almost sounds like the engine's turning off. And I'm telling you what, that would scare the shit out of me. But
Well,
then when she applied the gas to get it started again, there's like a momentary, pause before it actually kick in. I'm sorry, I that's a car I couldn't drive.
we rented a Volkswagen sedan that had that. Uh, and at a stoplight, it was okay. When the stoplight turned green and you stepped on the gas pedal, it started again and it was fine. But you know, to hear that sound all the time of a car stalling, I couldn't get
Yeah.
past it.
Yeah, neither could I. Yes, well, I gotta get going.
All right,
Even though it's my birthday, it's still
it
a
is
work
your
day for
birthday,
me. So
so
great being here.
tell people what your work is.
Well, I do genealogy. For some reason, it seems that people only in the South want their history done. I don't know why. It's not like I advertise to it, but they love what I do. They with me for many years. Uh, Mindy Esposito, I think she's been longer than that, five
Yes,
years.
you
But you'd be surprised how
Virginia
much you can
Muskett has been
find.
with you for a long
Yep,
time.
yep. It's been with me
I
about
know
2 years.
I know that name. We've had her on the broadcast before.
You'd be surprised what you can find when you look. And even though you don't think you made a mark in life, somewhere someone made a mark for you. And the living people, their information is usually protected.
Yep.
But what living people forget is, you graduate from high school, so that means you had a yearbook. That means your photographs in the yearbook. You got engaged, that means your engagement's in the newspaper. You got married, your marriage is in the newspaper, and so on and so forth. So there's a way to find you alive. I'm going to find your information. I'm going to add it to the family tree. Uh, right now, my wife is working on Regina. She has 3,000 photographs waiting to be added for her family history. And it's amazing. You may not realize it, but you made a mark in life somewhere, and I'll find it.
I'm sure some people just like the notoriety of knowing who they're related to. It's like, I mean,
Yep.
I went to town when you told me that you weren't even looking for me, you were looking somebody else's tree up, and it turns out we're both related to King David.
Yep. Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
I
you
I
know,
have, I have one client. His name is Aiden Slaughter,
yeah,
and Slaughter is related to me and two other people because of Texas Ranger John Horton Slaughter. Now, look up the
okay,
name Texas John Horton Slaughter. He was a Texas Ranger. He was a Confederate in the Army. Um, Walt Disney did. Hey, it's my show again. Walt Disney did a phenomenal. Walt Disney did a show about Texas Slaughter. Movies were made about him. Comic books, toys, puzzles. Famous guy. So that means that Aiden, myself, and others are also related to that very famous guy. And
Yep.
it's just it's a fun fact,
Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, I gotta leave before I take over the show.
Happy birthday. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
taking over the show.
Yep, you take care. Bye bye.
All right. Friday at 10 a.m. Friday at 10 a.m. we will be on and we'll do Red Friday as we always do. In the beginning, we salute the men and women of the United States military, all of the branches, and we add ICE, whether you believe that they are a part of the United States military or not, or law enforcement or whatever. We just throw them in along with first responders and everyone else. We welcome you to the program if you are one of them. We welcome you to the program if you are related to one of them. We give either one of you a chance to shout out to the other one if you wish. Older veterans, you are welcome to come on and walk us through the stories, because I love hearing the stories that I'm sure you can tell. My grandfather was a chief warrant or chief petty, whichever one is the higher one in the Navy, and I can never remember which one is the higher, but some of the stories he would tell were just amazing, and some of the things that he would do were actually amazing too. So I love hearing the old time stories, and of course we'll have our mix of politics, everything America, news of the day, and we'll drink coffee and we'll have fun. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to slide up here and hit the first part of wrapping it all up. Thanks to the people on Winkin, Streetlock, and over there on X2. They had a choice of clicking the link and watching the program. I hope they do. On YouTube itself, we're up to about 15, 16, 20 views, and that's great. One day we'll be up to 1,000, over 4,000 hours, and who knows? We might be able to monetize off of them. It's not important, so we don't really push it. It's just not important. When we don't have the money to do it anymore, I won't do it anymore. I like doing it, and that's that. Now I'm going to hit the okay with the final